What if everything you learned about human history was incomplete? What if the real story, the one hidden beneath centuries of forgotten records and suppressed evidence, involves creatures so massive, so powerful, that they could reshape civilizations with a single step? Have you ever wondered why ancient cultures across the entire globe, completely isolated from each other, all tell the same stories about giants? That's not a coincidence. That's a warning. The whispers in ancient stone. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors weren't imagining things. They were recording something real, something terrifying. Around the world, ancient sites show a strange pattern: giant skeletal remains, enormous stone structures, and historical stories so consistent they can't be dismissed as myths. The old texts don't treat giants as fairy tales. They describe them as real threats. Think about the giants in biblical texts, not as religious stories, but as real history. Goliath wasn't alone. Giants like Og of Bashan, nearly 13 feet tall, are described in such precise detail you have to wonder, why would ancient writers make up exact heights? The Bible isn't the only source. Greek myths tell of Titans and the Nephilim, tall humanoid beings that existed before humans dominated the earth. Even more striking, these accounts appear across cultures. The Nephilim show up in Jewish texts. Giants are in Norse myths, Indian epics, Chinese folklore, and Native American legends. When completely separate civilizations tell the same story, it's not just mythology, it's shared memory. Archaeological evidence makes it even stranger. Throughout history, unusual skeletal remains have been found, bones much bigger than normal, skulls far larger than any humans. Many of these finds were never properly recorded or quickly hidden in private collections. The Smithsonian Institution has faced decades of claims that it covered up giant remains, allegedly destroying or hiding thousands of artifacts that didn't fit the official story. Officials deny this, but the missing records and gaps raise serious questions. Giants, hiding in plain sight. But what if giants didn't go extinct? What if they never left? What if they've simply learned to hide, adapted to a world where their existence contradicts everything modern science claims to understand? It sounds impossible, but consider the vastness of our planet. We haven't explored massive portions of Earth's surface. The deep ocean floors remain largely unmapped. Thick jungles in the Amazon, impenetrable mountain ranges, endless cave systems. These aren't just geographical features. They're sanctuaries, perfect hiding places for something that doesn't want to be found. There are reports, whispers, sightings that never make it into mainstream media. Remote villages in mountainous regions speak of enormous humanoid creatures observed only at night, leaving massive footprints in snow and mud. Indigenous populations in isolated areas describe encounters with beings far taller than any human, existing in the spaces between civilization. These aren't hallucinations or folklore passed down through generations. Some are recent. Some are from people with nothing to gain by speaking the truth, people whose cultures have preserved knowledge about these creatures for centuries. The Bigfoot phenomenon, often dismissed as a cryptid myth, might be something else entirely. What if Bigfoot sightings across North America represent something far more organized? A population of large humanoid beings deliberately avoiding human detection. The consistency of reports, the supposed intelligence and tactical awareness these creatures demonstrate, suggests not random animal behavior, but deliberate concealment. Thermal imaging has captured shapes that don't match any known animal. Footprints have been found that defy explanation, and yet nobody has ever been found. No definitive proof. That's because whatever is out there has learned the ultimate survival strategy: invisibility. The science of concealment. Here's what makes this so chilling. Giants wouldn't have to be just myths to exist beyond our notice. They'd need to be smart, careful, and sadly for us, far better at avoiding humans than we are at finding them. Deep caves could shelter entire populations, completely untouched by modern life. Underwater caverns, especially in unexplored ocean trenches, could hold massive beings entirely hidden from us. We know more about the moon's surface than we do about the deepest parts of our oceans. The usual argument against giants is shaky, based on ideas about gravity and bone strength that ignore evolution over thousands of years. A species that evolved in isolation could develop bodies totally unlike ours. Stronger bones, different organs. Metabolisms are built for surviving harsh hidden places. We assume humans can't grow beyond a certain size without problems, but that assumes all humanoids evolve the same way. What if they didn't? What if they evolved perfectly for their environment, perfectly for survival, and perfectly to stay hidden? A cover-up would be easy. Governments and institutions have hidden stranger truths before. Imagine the chaos if the world discovered massive intelligent beings living alongside us unseen. The economic fallout, the security fears, the total rethink of evolution and history. It's simpler to deny, easier to call witnesses crazy, easier to bury the evidence and keep believing the comfortable lie. The dark side of discovery. But what if we're not actually alone with just giants? What if these creatures are territorial? What if their increasing invisibility stems not from fear of discovery, but from a deliberate strategy of avoidance? Missing hikers in remote forests, explorers who venture into uncharted caves and simply vanish, expeditions that disappear in dense jungles with no explanation. We call these tragedies accidents, natural disasters. But what if there's something else? What if these disappearances represent encounters with beings that have no interest in being studied, documented, or exposed? The thought is chilling. What if giants aren't hiding from us because they're afraid, but because they're protective of their territories? What if certain regions of Earth have become essentially forbidden zones, not through any official declaration, but through the simple fact that anyone who ventures too deep never returns? Remote mountain peaks, unexplored cave systems, and vast wilderness areas suddenly take on a different meaning when viewed through this lens. They're not just untamed nature, they're occupied territory. Indigenous populations in various regions have long maintained cultural taboos about entering certain areas, sacred grounds, forbidden lands, places where ancestral spirits supposedly dwell. What if these weren't spiritual beliefs but practical warnings passed down from generations who encountered something real? A people preserving survival knowledge through the only language available to them, mythology and spiritual teaching? When you examine these taboos globally, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. The unanswered questions. The evidence feels scattered, mostly circumstantial, exactly what you'd expect from a truth that powerful people have spent centuries trying to hide. We live in a world filled with cameras on almost every street corner, yet the biggest mysteries of our time remain unsolved. Giants, if they exist, have outplayed us at our own game. They've learned how to disappear in a world obsessed with records and proof. And maybe that's the scariest part. Not that giants could exist, but that we may be looking for them in the wrong places, searching for normal evidence when we should accept the strange reality right in front of us. The historical record is undeniable. The cultural patterns are undeniable. The archaeological oddities are undeniable. What we resist is the idea that our current worldview might be incomplete, that somewhere in the huge, unexplored parts of our planet, beings far bigger and far smarter than we'd like to admit are living their lives, observing us, and keeping their distance. They've survived this long by being smarter than us, by knowing that the best place to hide is between what we know and what we choose not to believe. So the next time you're hiking through a remote forest and hear something massive moving in the darkness just outside your flashlight's reach, something too big to be a bear, too intelligent to be any animal you recognize, remember this. Maybe you're not lost in nature. Maybe you're trespassing in someone else's home. And maybe, just maybe, they're watching to see if you'll leave quietly without ever being noticed. Are giants actually real? The real question is, are we ready to know the answer? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more updates. Thanks for watching.